Well, we are going to continue together in our series called Jesus According to Jesus. And as you know, we've been working our way through statements that he makes in the Gospel of John that start with these words, I am. There are several places, 7 in the Gospel of John, where he says, I am, and he describes for us revealing more and more of his own nature and character, who he is, what he came to do, and who he is by saying, I am. Things like, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the gate. I am the good shepherd. On Easter Sunday, we got to talk together about how Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. And today in John 14:6, we come to this pivotal moment. It is so clear, it is so powerful when Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Now there's something about this in John 14:6 that hits a little different. It hits with a different level of direct power or confrontational truth, or however you want to put it, but it stirs up a reaction in people. John 14:6 stirs up a reaction in people who are definitely not convinced of what Jesus has been saying about who he is. And it stirs up a reaction among people who are very convinced about who Jesus says he is. And I think the reason why, maybe this is just my take on it, is that when Jesus says, I am the bread of life, okay, sure. That's not a position that's up for grabs. There's no bread of life election. It doesn't feel like there's a lot hanging on that. When Jesus says, I'm the bread of life, or he says, I'm the light of the world, okay. All right, that sounds a little self-fixated, but all right, sure, and then he says, I'm the gate. Okay, Jesus, it sounds a little weird. You're bread, you're light, you're gate. I'm the good shepherd. Well, at least that's a person. We can understand, what that means, at least a little bit. And when he says, I'm the resurrection and the life, oh, there you go off the deep end again, Jesus. And the cumulative effect of all of these things, when you really step back and you look at what he's saying, you realize he's saying things that are really indescribably profound. They're so powerful. For someone to say, I am the bread of life to people, I'm the light of the world, I'm the gate, I'm the good shepherd, I'm the resurrection, I'm the life. These are powerful, powerful statements. But now in John 14:6, he says these 3 words together, and together, especially with the statement that follows, it hits different. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Okay, now this is getting serious. We were okay earlier, Jesus, when you were out there saying weird things about bread and light. There's a lot of people that are into Easter and believe Jesus rose from the dead, and so we're okay with you're the resurrection and the life. You've got this whole sheep thing going on, cool. When you say you are the way, you are the truth, you are the life, and no one goes to the Father except through you, now you're stepping on toes, right? Now you're getting in our face, you're getting in our business. Now you're telling us that what we believe might be wrong. And oh boy, now these are fighting words, aren't they? I'm just being honest. This is the culture in which we live, right? This is it stirs up reaction because it challenges our preferred way of thinking. Now, it's true that some cultures, some generations had a little bit of an easier time with this, maybe. But I think probably it's confrontational no matter where you grow up and no matter what your cultural, your societal norms are. But it definitely challenges our cultural norms. It's plain to see in our culture where everybody is not only free to believe whatever they want to believe, but everyone is required culturally to tolerate what everyone else believes. That's what is known as old tolerance. New tolerance is you must accept and affirm what everyone else believes. And so if you're one of those people that says, yes, Jesus, you're the way, the truth, the life, no one goes to the Father but through you, then you are outside those cultural norms. You are contradicting our way of thinking. It is unacceptable. And we know that. This is not news to any of us in this room, but let me just flip the script a little bit. Because if you do believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and I imagine that a lot of people in this room do, that's what we've just been singing about. It's what we're going to celebrate together at the communion table soon. If you do believe that no one comes to the Father except through him, there's a different danger in here for us. And that's that when we read John 14:6, our response is, see, we're right. We're right. And I agree. But I just want to point out this morning that the objective of this passage, the point of what Jesus is saying, is not to say, okay, everybody line up. Here's the people who are right, and here's the people who are wrong. And for some reason, part of our defensiveness or part of our earnestness or part of our zeal or whatever you want to say, sometimes maybe just part of our pride, we tend to line up that way. We line up like, okay, we're right. See, it says right here, I'm right. I'm on the good guys' team. And the others are wrong. And of course, that's what partially creates such vitriol and such mistrust. And I'm not saying there's no place for this truth. It's true. We'll look at that. But I just want to say that if this is what you already come into the room believing, let's this morning, instead of falling into line where I'm right, see, John 14:6, we can instead open our eyes and look at the face of Christ. Open the ears of our hearts and hear what's on his heart. And we will come away with a different attitude than, I'm right. This is a highly emotional passage. This is a highly emotional passage. Peter and Thomas and Philip each give voice to anxieties that all of us can identify with in our relationship with God. And I think that maybe in our overemphasis on way, truth, life, it's right, we miss the fact that they're struggling with things that all of us struggle with. And then we miss what Jesus' heart is for them and for anyone who will listen and believe him. So they give this voice to anxieties that we can all identify with, and their specific reasons might be different than your specific reasons. Maybe you're in the midst of a life storm that is just threatening to take you down, and you're not sure how you're going to make it. Maybe you have experienced great pain and hurt, and it's difficult for you to be in this room today because church has been a place that you associate with hurt. Maybe you're listening because you can't make it physically because of that hurt. And if that doesn't describe the people in this room or listening right now, it certainly describes people who are driving by our street right now. People that you live next to, people that you work with, that you go to school with. This is the reality that many, many people deal with, especially what we like to call church refugees, who have struggled with what they've experienced, struggled to put together what they've heard. They've experienced some hurt, some pain, some rejection, some failure, something that puts this distance between them and God, they suppose. That there's this great gap between them and God, and they can't be around this. Well, if that's your story, or if it's closer to what these guys are about to experience here, or whatever it may be, I just am confident that all of us can relate with these anxieties about our relationship with God that these guys lay out for us. And I'm going to read that passage for you here soon, but first, I just want to highlight this for you so that we're watching for it. One of the most important things for us to see in this passage is how Jesus responds with both love and with truth. with love and with truth. One of the main speaking characters that we'll talk about is Thomas. He was one of the key figures in our time together last week, which we called Understood Sunday. If you don't understand what that means, then you might have to go back and check it out. But Understood Sunday, in part, was about the fact that Jesus responds to the angst that Thomas was experiencing with such tenderness, such love. And we are trying to see in his heart that he really understands us. He really does. And so again, if you're in the midst of one of those storms, if you're feeling the pressure, if you're feeling the distance, if you're feeling the pain, if you're feeling the hurt, the loss, the whatever it is that you struggle with, he understands us. He understands us. He gets us, as the commercials say sometimes. But I want to be really, really clear with you about that, because it would be easy for us to say, oh, he understands us, so I'm good because he understands. He gets me, you know. He'll give me a little wink. He understands me. He'll give me a pat on the back, and off I go. All's well. No. He understands us. He gets us, and that's why it matters to Jesus that we know and believe the truth. That we know and believe the truth. In fact, the verses that immediately follow where we were last week, in John 20, here's the description of why all of these things are even being talked about here. John 20, verse 30, Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book, but these are written so that you may believe, and here's the truth, that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you might have life in his name. That's the point here, right? So it doesn't do any good for you to be understood if he's going to just pat you on the back and off you go on your way. Hey, he gets me, it's okay. No, because he understands you, that's why he went to the cross. Because he understands you, that's why he was risen from the dead. It's because he understands you that he paid for your sin, and it matters to him what you know and what you believe. It matters to him because it's by believing in the name of the Son of God, Jesus, that you have life. But Jesus never spoke the truth without love. And conversely, he also knows there's no such thing as love without truth. So let's read. I'm going to read for you John 13, verse 33 through John 14, verse 14. It picks up a little bit more of the context than we'll spend time on this morning, but I want you to hear it. So in verse 13, or 33 rather, of chapter 13, Jesus says, "My children, I will be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now, where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Simon Peter asked him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus replied, "Where I am going, you cannot follow now, but you will follow later." Peter asked, "Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay my life down for you." Then Jesus answered, "Will you really lay your life for me? Very truly, I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms, that if it were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come back, and I will take you to be with me, that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going." Thomas said to him, "Lord, we don't know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus answered, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and you have seen him." Well, Philip, he said, "Show us the Father, Lord, and that will be enough for us." Jesus answered, "Don't you know me, Philip? Even after I've been among you such a long time? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Don't you believe that I am in the Father and that the Father is in me? The words I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority. Rather, it is the Father living in me who is doing his work. Believe me when I say that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or at least believe on the evidence of the works themselves. Very truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these because I am going to the Father. And I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. You may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it." Well, I know that you probably picked up on the fact that as Jesus was explaining to them what was going to happen, and he had some things to share with them, their hearts were immediately deeply troubled. There was a major anxiety going on about what they heard Jesus say. And in spite of all of the various things that he was saying, which is so deep, many more than we have time to get into today, it was this one thing that stirred them up into sheer panic. I'm leaving. I'm going away. And where I'm going, you cannot come. Panic overtook them. It's a feeling, honestly, every time I read that passage, it's a feeling that takes me back to childhood. It takes me back to that moment when all of a sudden you lost track of where your mom or dad is in the crowd, you know? And that panic comes over and you wonder, I'm lost. And for the guys, when they heard Jesus say, I'm leaving, there couldn't be worse news than that for them. And when he says, I'm leaving and you can't come, then added to that panic, I think there's hurt in there, you know? What do you mean? Why would you go anywhere away from us? And why would you go somewhere where we can't come? I feel that. Well, three voices of anxiety crop up. Peter, he says, why not? Thomas says, we don't know. And Philip says, prove it. Now, I want you to notice before we take a look at these real quick, that in verse 34, Jesus said something that matters. They totally miss it. Blow right past it. No one pays attention at all to what Jesus says in verse 34. They completely blow past it. He said, a new command I give you, love one another. And he says, as I have loved you, I want you to love one another. This is how everyone's going to know that you're my disciples, which is important for a couple of reasons. For one, remember we said at the beginning, it's not helpful for us to look at John 14 and go, ha, I'm right. That's how people will know, because I know how to demonstrate for them, to tell them the things they need to know. That's how they'll know that we belong to the real one. No, he says, no, it's by the way that you love. It's the way that you love one another, that the people will know that you're my disciples. If you love one another like I loved you, that's supernatural, and it will show. So it matters that he said that here, but also it matters because as you listen to the way that Jesus responds to them in their anxiety, what you see is his love on display. He has a way of talking them through these anxieties, which we all share, which is so tender, so kind. In fact, it's described perfectly in that love chapter in 1 Corinthians 13. In fact, you know this well, so why don't you just read this along with me. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4. You have that? There we go. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others, nor is it self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. How beautiful. There's a beautiful description of Jesus. And you'll notice how when he talks to them, that's exactly how he speaks with them as he rejoices in the truth. Peter says, why not? You're going somewhere where we can't come? Why not? And let me tell you what is behind Peter's why not. Why can't we come with you? Why can't I come with you? What does he say? He says, I'll go anywhere with you. I will lay my life down for you. Here's what Peter is saying. Jesus, I'm devoted to you. That's why he says, why not? Why couldn't I go with you? I am so devoted to you. I'm on your side. I'm one of the good guys, Jesus. I'll be good, I swear. You can count on me. Do you see what's happening? As Peter says, I'll go anywhere with you. I'll lay my life down with you. What he's saying is, I am so devoted to you. My devotion to you is so strong that I should be able to go with you wherever you go. So why not? Why can't I? And you know what? There's an anxiety that a lot of us deal with in our relationship with God sometimes, isn't it? Where we're going, well, God, why not? Why haven't you answered this prayer? Why haven't you made yourself more clear? Why can't I get over this thing? You say your grace is sufficient, but like, why not? I'm doing all the things. I'm so devoted. My love for you is strong, and we begin to rehearse to ourselves why we believe that we ought to be getting from God what we're asking for in the way that we're asking and in the time we're asking it. We do this with others too, because one of the most painful things we see is when something really hard and heavy happens to someone that we respect, that we look up to. We go, why them? Why not someone else who actually deserves it? And we rehearse, well, if that could happen to them, look at them, they're so good. They love God. They're so giving. And we stir ourselves up with this anxiety that is built on our devotion to God. How strong our love for him is. And do you see how Jesus responds? And I know what we do. We look at the irony of what he says here. You know, he says, Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times before the morning. And of course, if you know, we get all smart alecky, at least I do, and I'm like, okay, well, if he just told me that I'm going to deny him 3 times, I'm going to get some duct tape, I'm going to put it on my mouth, right? I will be determined I won't do that. I might do a lot of other bad things, but that's the one I won't do. I'm not doing it, Jesus, you know. But I don't think that this is just about Jesus giving Peter like some prophecy that he won't be able to avoid no matter how hard he tries. That's going to happen. We all know the story. But part of what he's saying is, Peter, that's not going to work. He's saying, Peter, no, it doesn't work this way where you tell me how devoted you are to me and how much you love me, how strong your love is for me. That will never work. Don't tell me, Peter, that you're going to lay your life down for me. That won't work. You know what will work? If I lay down my life for you. The only way this works is I'm committed to you, my devotion to you. You can count on me. I am going to show up. My love for you is strong enough. Peter, don't get those flipped around, because if this depends on you, you will have nothing but anxiety, and it will never work. All of this depends on my love for you. Peter, will you lay down your life for me? I don't think so. I'm going to lay my life down for you. If you tried, you would disown me, but I will never disown you. So soon, no one comes to the Father but through me, Jesus will say. I mean, here's a valid question. For anyone struggling with that statement, no one comes to the Father except through me, Jesus says. Let me just ask you, what are your other options? What else have you come up with? Okay, let's just do some brainstorming. Okay, cool. We don't like the fact that Jesus says, no one comes to the Father but through me. What else do we got going? And I promise you, the only thing you will ever come up with is some version of, I'm so devoted. It's every other worldview, every other plan, everything else is all going to be based on, look what I will do. And if I will do the right things long enough, good enough, strong enough, then, okay, I can maybe get my way to the Father. But there is nothing in that road but anxiety. And it will never work. And it can only take a Savior like Jesus who would say, tell you what, I will lay my life down for you instead. That's the only option. It's the only way. Thomas, he reacts when Jesus says, you know the way to the place where I'm going. And Thomas says, no, we don't. And I just, once again, just appreciate Thomas so much. Because he's like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. It's hard to not understand what God is doing, isn't it? It's hard to understand, I don't know where any of this is going. It's hard when we don't understand. And I appreciate so much that Thomas is going, Jesus, you're wrong, right? Now, obviously, he's not wrong, but that's exactly where Thomas is. And he goes, no, we don't understand. We don't know where you're going. How could we? I have no idea where you're going. How can I possibly know the way? It's a good question. And so what Thomas is saying is, we don't know. This makes no sense. I don't understand. It's confusing. And Jesus' answer, once again, so truth-packed, so tenderly loving, the way is me. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. I am. You may not know every answer, Thomas, when you want to know it, but you know me. And that's the point. You know me, Thomas. So I know we can jostle and wrestle in great conversations about Jesus being the way, the truth, the life. That is absolutely true. Absolutely. But look at the way that he deals with the one who's going, I don't know. I'm so confused. He just says, look, I know. You know me. Know me. Know me, and it will be enough. And part of what he's saying here is that this I'm going to this place and I'm preparing a place for you, is that this is relational, not just locational. Notice he didn't say, no one comes to heaven except through me. He says, no one comes to the Father except through me. Is he talking about a place? Is there a place that's heaven? Is that real? Yes. But his emphasis in this, even though he talks about that place, his emphasis is that you would go with me to the Father. It's relational, not locational primarily. The way to the Father, and I'm going to come back and I take you to be with me so that wherever I am, don't over-fixate on the place and the songs and the imaginations and all the things. Don't over-fixate on that. Wherever I am, that you may be there. So that we would be together forever. That's home. Home is us together forever. The way that I always meant it to be. Yeah? So he's saying, I want you to be with me where I am. And he intentionally uses this imagery of engagement, how engagement worked in that time, right? Where a guy would leave his father's place. He would go off to a foreign land. He would find a potential bride, and they would be betrothed. And then he would say, okay, now stay where you are. I'm going to go back to my father's house. And I'm going to build an extra room on my father's house, as this bridal chamber. It's going to be where we're going to live. And then at a time that you don't know about, I'm going to come back to where you are, and I'm going to get you, and we're going to have a big celebration, and I'm going to bring you back to my father's house. The disciples wouldn't have missed that. No chance they would have missed that. They know exactly this reference that Jesus is making. And he's saying that to us. I want you to be with me where I am. This is about our relationship. And he's not getting his gold hammer and gold nails. And, there's a lot of rooms in my father's house, but we need one more. He's just saying, no, I'm preparing a place for you. I'm giving you a place where you had no place. And I'm coming to get you because I want you to be with me. It's relational, not locational. Now, it is unequivocal, too. There is no other way. but he is for anyone who believes him. He is for anyone who would come after him. Anyone, the worst that everyone just thinks could never be saved. The farthest and some other place that never even knew until someone told him. The oldest, the youngest, the last second, the earliest confession of whatever, anyone who would believe him. So even though there is no other way, exclusive is not the point. Inclusive is the point. The invitation is there for anyone. He's the only way, but he's the way for anyone who would believe him. Colleen Knoll is an 18-year-old who lives in the Alberta, Canada area. And there she worked last summer, she worked as one of the kitchen staff members in the park there at Jasper Park. And you may remember that last summer, one of the great wildfires that happened up in Canada was in Alberta, and Jasper Park and the whole place caught ablaze. Eventually, it was something like 96,000 acres that were burned. Over a third of the structures in the whole town of Jasper were destroyed. And at one point, when the fires were all of a sudden had cropped up so fast, so hard, unexpectedly, she and some others were there down at the lodge area, and they knew that there were campers and hikers who were up on the mountainside. These flames were now at the point where they had come roaring over the mountain, and they were 328 feet high. And it's pitch black night, except for the red glow in the sky, and everything else is thick smoke. And they know those people are going to die. But Colleen, 18 years old, she left the kitchen because earlier that day she had gone up with one of the rangers on horseback, and they were cutting logs. And for whatever reason, while they were doing that, she remembered that they had cut 67 logs. And so she thought, you know what? I know how many logs there are. And we went up and down on horseback, so if I count the number of logs as I go, and I follow the trail of the horses and their manure, I can get up to the top of where those people are hiking, and I can lead them back down. And that's exactly what she did. She led 16 people who hiked for 4 hours through the thick smoke and the darkness, who would have surely died, for 4 hours, navigating through, counting 67 logs all the way down the mountain, and following the trail and the horse manure and everything, put them all into one single pickup truck at the bottom, and got them all out to safety. An 18-year-old girl, isn't that cool? Now, can you imagine? She gets to the top. They're all going to die, and they know it. And they go, wait, what? You just sent one option? What are you talking about? Like, what if I don't want to go down the mountain that side? And she's like, come on, I can. And there's no discussion about who's important, who's wealthy, who's not. Just come on, everyone follow me. I know the way. There's one way down. I know what it is. Come on. And that's exactly what happened. Thomas says, we don't know what you're talking about. And Jesus says, well, you know me. You know me. And that's what they had to believe, right? Colleen could explain all to them. He says, look, you're going to have to trust me. I know the way. But Jesus says, what? I am the way. Philip says, prove it. Just show us. He's frustrated. I understand. Philip says, Lord, okay, look, enough of those knuckleheads. Just show us the Father, and that will be enough for us. This is frustrating. Can you just make it more obvious, Jesus? And you hear what he's saying? Just do this one thing for me, and I won't ask again. Right? You been there? Just do this one thing for me. This would make this everything would click into place if you would just answer this one request. Do this one thing for me, and I'll believe you. And sometimes we go like, I could believe you if you would just fix this. Philip's fixed the thing that he wanted him to do. Show us the Father. Just show us the Father, Jesus. We've seen you do a lot. We're pretty sure we know, but we need your real ID. And he says, that'll be enough. That's all we need. It's funny to me that after all of this stuff that we're all going through together, to get what? A little star. A little star on our license, right? And the whole thing, like, if you look at it, it's got like holograms, and it's got all of the special printing, and it's printed one way and one side. I mean, they at first they gave you like probably a piece of paper says with your name on it. This dude's allowed to drive, and they're like, well, no, people can copy that. So let's make it plastic. Okay. No, people can copy that. Well, let's laminate it. People can copy it. Put your picture on it. People can copy it. Let's put holograms. Let's put like wizardry stuff that'll come out of it. And no one will be able to copy it. And we're like, you know what? We need a star. We need a star. And I wonder, like, who's buying this? When we get the star, has no one ever thought about the possibility that someone could also put a star on their non-star driver's license? And we're going to start all over again. It'll be enough, I swear. Just put on the star, all right? And we'll believe that you are who you can fly. Philip says, it just show us the Father. This just shows the Father. But see, Jesus' answer, so profound. He says, Philip, you're looking at him. The Father is sitting inches away from you. He is in me. I am in him. And if you've seen me, you've seen him. You are hearing his voice right now. Tell me, what else do we really need? Believe me. Believe my words. Believe my works. I am the life, Jesus says. And what we need to understand is that the life that Jesus is saying, this is me. This is who I am. I am the Father. We are one. We are bringing this. He is bringing restoration of all that God made us for. Restoration of all his creation in advance living in us. You see, all mankind had lost its place. And we lost more than we have ever been able to imagine. In the garden, when we turned our back on the relationship and went for the rules instead, we lost more than we ever have been able to imagine. And Jesus says, I am going to go get it back. This is not just about making a place for you to have your mansion and your gold whatevers. I am going to get back for you what all mankind lost. You lost your place. I'm going to get it back. I'm going to go prepare a place for you where you have no place. It's going to cost me everything. I'm going to pay it all. I'm going to be raised from the dead, and I'm going to come back for you so that you have it. I want you to have the whole new life that you are designed for, that I'm buying for you, and it actually starts now. It reminds me of a great theological work by a great theologian, Dr. Seuss. On Beyond Zebra, said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell, my very young friend who is learning to spell. The A is for ape, the B is for bear, the C is for camel, the H is for hare, the M is for mouse, the R is for rat. I know all 26 letters like that. Through Z is for zebra, I know them all well, said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell. Now I know everything that anyone knows, from beginning to end, from start to the close, because Z is as far as the alphabet goes. Well, then he almost fell flat on his face on the floor when I picked up the chalk and I drew one letter more, a letter he had never dreamed of before. And I said, you can stop if you want with the Z. And most people stop with the Z, but not me. In the places I go, there are things that I see that I could never spell if I stopped with a Z. I'm telling you this because you're one of my friends. My alphabet starts where your alphabet ends. My alphabet starts with the letter called Yez. It's the letter I use to spell Yezemetez. You'll be sort of surprised what there is to be found once you go beyond Z and start poking around. And so on beyond zebra, explore like Columbus, discover new letters like Wum, which is for Wumbus. My high-spouting whale who lives high on a hill, who never comes down till it's time to refill. So go beyond Z. It's high time that you were shown that you really don't know all there is to be known. And if you want to hear the rest, see me afterward, and I'll arrange a private reading for you. There is so much more than any of us have ever seen or explored. And Jesus says, I'm the way. I'm the truth. I'm the life. I will be your access. I will be your answer. Know me. Ask me anything in my name. The whole point simplified down into 2 words, trust me. And if I could be so bold as to give to you and to me our whole response simplified down into 4 words, Jesus, I trust you. It's not been my aim this morning to prove to you from John 14:6 that Jesus is the only way, although he is, but rather for us to spend time together listening to his heart in the way that he responds to the anxieties we all share, and hear him speak to us truth that makes us go, okay, Jesus, I trust you. Let's pray. Lord, in these 3 questions, we see ourselves and we see our wrestlings and our wonderings and so many of the anxieties that we feel as we try to learn how to walk with you from a limited vantage point. And as we see the way that you answer and the words of truth that you gave your disciples and to us, Lord, thank you for your patience and your kindness towards us. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your commitment, your conviction, the revelation of you as truth. Please wear us down. Please tire us out. Please bring us to the place where we surrender and yield. Jesus, I trust you. And as we prepare to come to the table, and we hold in our hands the emblem of your broken body and your shed blood, if we were never convinced before, let us be today. You gave us your all. Jesus, we trust you. Amen.